Primary sources can include artifacts, audio recordings, journals, personal papers, schedules, film, photographs, daily journals, architectural drawings, schematics, magazines, newspapers, and other publications. There are so many different types of primary sources. Think about the types of records and primary sources you have in your own life and what they could tell you about your family, your community, your school, or yourself. There are so many different ways to bring primary sources into your classroom through a lesson or a project or presentation, so you can get really creative. When we show a primary source or a record at the Archives of Ontario during a workshop, we teach students to read the record like they would a textbook. What kind of information does the record tell us about the past? So start by looking at the record and what it shows. Read the record or listen to it or watch it and start taking notes about the observations you can make. What is depicted? What does it say about the people, buildings, or landscape? Just write down anything you can observe. And then from there you can start talking about what those things tell us about the past and the subject or people or place that's depicted. Start asking questions like, who is depicted? What are they doing? Why would they want to do that? What does this record show us? Are there any questions you have about it that the record brings up while you're watching it or reading it or looking at it? Start thinking about what you want to know about that record and what it doesn't show you. Where else would you get that information? Looking at a record can open all kinds of questions. Another approach is to look at a record with students or in your class and start asking about the people who made the record. Who made the record? What was it made for? Who did they make it for? Was it a photograph taken for a specific purpose or a book written for a specific audience? Asking these kinds of questions about how the record was made and why can help start a really good conversation about how bias and perspective appear in historical records and how we need to be aware of them. So start asking about where the record came from and what was its purpose. Primary sources can help us to feel, hear, see, and understand how people lived in the past. There are so many different ways to bring them into your classroom. Why not listen to music from the Great Depression and talk about the lyrics, or look at photographs of soldiers during World War I and talk about what their experiences might have been like, or read letters from a soldier to his family to empathize and understand how it might have felt to be that person. Or look at paintings or watercolor sketches by Elizabeth Simcoe in the 1790s going through Upper Canada, and then make your own of your community or neighborhood and talk about, representation and how people can depict the area around them and how that might have changed over time. There are so many different ways to bring primary sources into the class. You just have to get started. Photographs are just the beginning. So primary sources can help us understand cause and consequence, gain historical perspective, really get a sense of how things have changed and stayed the same, so continuity and change, and bring a sense of life into the class that you can't get through textbooks. Primary sources are the direct source we need to go to for history.